Hello and welcome to Winchester Now, our roundup of some of the stories in and around our city this week. I'm Mary Blaxland. This week we hear from a man who says he's lucky to be alive after a tree crushed his car during storms. We find out about school pastors and what brought people flocking to a Hampshire village, plus our community shout-outs too. Winchester Radio. Heavy rain and storm force winds have brought problems this week with flooding, power cuts and blocked roads. Train services in and out of Winchester have seen delays because of flooding and debris on the line. The River Itchen has burst its banks in a number of places. Storm Henk brought down a number of trees, including on the M3 and A34 near Winnell. In Kingsworthy, a tree fell on a power line, and in Sutton Scotney, a local farmer brought out his tractor to help clear a blocked road. Hampshire County Council says its highway teams attended 162 emergency jobs in just 24 hours. But it was on the Romsey Road that a tree fell on a car belonging to actor and musician Aaron Skip Bartlett, missing his driver's seat by just inches. He spoke to Winchester Radio.
So I was on my way back from the gym. Being New Year and everything, I actually didn't want to go to the gym. To be honest with you, I had quite a rough time recently. I came out of a relationship last year, lost my job. I've been dealing with a lot of stuff, so sort of been, quite down. But I was like, come on, let's go to the gym. Biggest mistake ever. And went a different way home than I normally would do. So it's like everything led me to that one moment. So that was kind of, what happened up to it.
And describe for me what happened. You were driving along Romsey Road. What happened?
So I was driving up Romsey Road, and then, it happened so quickly. All I remember is it looked like it was raining trees and branches, but before I even had a second to look up and see what was going on, it was too late. Bang, it hit the back of the car. It was massive sound, massive thud. I didn't even really know what was going on. Next thing I know, I'm out the car, there's people everywhere, a huge tree over my car. It was just crazy. It probably still hasn't sunk in. It happened so quickly. One minute I was driving, the next there was a tree on my car.
And I've seen the pictures. Describe for our listeners, though, what it was like when you got out of the car and saw what had been done.
Pretty much of a big shock. I'm a very optimistic kind of guy, so I saw the funny side of it, but I can see how some people probably could have broke down in tears after seeing that. Whole road was blocked. It nearly hit the bus on the other side. The bus stopped in time, got the back of my car. But I was just gobsmacked and shocked. What do you think in that situation? It's just massive shock. Didn't really know what to think of it. I started filming myself straight away and started making a little video, being like, yo, what's up? Trees just hit my car. Because that's kind of what I'm like. I like to see the funny side of it.
But it landed not far from where you were actually sitting, not far from the driver's seat.
No, exactly that. It actually landed in the centre of the roof. You're talking a millisecond difference. It hit the roof, and because I was moving, I was probably driving 15, 20 miles per hour. It hit the roof, and because of the momentum of the car, hit the back windshield, shattered the windscreen, the back one, glass all in the car, and then it slams down on the boot of the car, and that's where it stopped with so much force that it actually lifted my two front wheels off the road by about an inch. So that car was basically hoisted up from the back. So the suspension the back of that car took was unbelievable, but she drove away. Managed to drive it back up to my drive, and it's safely parked up there now with a tarpaulin, getting ready to be dealt with.
A write-off, do you think?
100% a write-off with the damage on the roof and how crumpled that roof is. The structure is too damaged that there is no way you are repairing that, unfortunately. If there was someone in the back, they would have died, because the dent in that back, they would have died. It's scary.
And looking at it, you must feel so lucky today.
I feel like the luckiest man in the world. It's given me a whole new perspective on life, I tell you. Because, everyone deals with their own struggles. And like I said, I've been struggling a little bit, trying to understand the meaning of life and all this sort of thing. And you know what? That's made me realise the meaning of life is just to be alive, have a good time and enjoy it. Funny thing is, I got away absolutely scot-free. There's not a single mark on me. I'm so lucky. Not a single scratch, nothing.
Your photos have been on Facebook. What sort of reaction have you had from your friends, from people who know you and people who don't know you? What's been reaction to what they've seen?
It's been absolutely crazy. It was all over Winchester rants, Winchester pics within 2 hours, 60, 70 comments on each. Having strangers reach out to me asking if I'm okay. All my friends, my phone was literally just bombarded with text messages, are you okay? But it was well nice to have strangers reach out. Even on the day, so many people were rushing to help. A bloke brought out a chainsaw and started cutting up the tree on the roadside. His little kid helping pick up sticks on the road. There was so many people offering and, do you need a hand, do you want a hot drink, do you need to use the loo? So many nice people, which has given me a massive faith in humanity. There really are some nice, genuine people out there that just want to help, and I just think it's really nice that we've got that. But it gives you a bit of faith that there's some good out there, a lot of good, and I want to give that back now, and I want to say to anyone, give it back, be nice and kind to everyone, and just thrive as much as you can, because life's too short, you don't know when it's going to end.
Seems to have changed your outlook on life.
100%, you do not know it. Completely changed my outlook on life. I literally feel like the luckiest man on earth. Every day's a blessing now. I mean, I'm lucky to survive, but I did see a news report that a tree did fall on a car and someone has died. You don't really think that happens, but someone has died in this storm from a tree falling down, and that could have been me. And then, have a look online, see the pictures. This tree was absolutely huge. I was inches away from dying, but I'm alive, so bring it on.
Aaron Skip Bartlett talking to Winchester Radio there, and the weather has forced the cancellation of tomorrow's park run because of conditions at the river park. Away from the weather now, and chief medical and nursing officers in Hampshire have delivered an open message to residents asking for help as junior doctors this week began the longest period of strike action in the history of the NHS. It urges people not to put off seeking urgent care, but to only call 999 in a life-threatening emergency. Some routine appointments have had to be cancelled during the action. Here's Lara Alloway, Chief Medical Officer of Hampshire and Isle of Wight NHS Integrated Care Board.
With junior doctors striking for 6 days at a time where we are incredibly busy in the NHS, we're asking for your help to enable us to keep people as safe as we can and provide emergency care to those who really need it. If you're not sure how to access the NHS, please use 111 online or call 111. Visit your local community pharmacist or speak to your GP surgery. We need to keep our emergency departments for those who really need emergency care, who have life or limb-threatening conditions. Your help is really appreciated. If you do have a friend or relative in hospital when they're ready to leave, please help us by collecting them as soon as possible. This way, we can make sure that our services are ready to provide the care you need at this very difficult time.
And the strike runs until 7 a.m. on the 9th of January. Now, we've had street pastors in Winchester for over a decade. They're a group of volunteers from local churches who go out into the city centre on a Friday and Saturday night to offer help and a listening ear to anyone who needs it. Well, now the project is being expanded with the formation of school pastors, a team who'll go into a number of Winchester schools offering support. I spoke to coordinator Mark Hibbert-Hingston ahead of the visits that began this week.
School pastors will go into schools in pairs. In our case, it'll always be a man and a woman in the pair. Rather like the nighttime street pastors, they're available to care, listen and help anybody in the school community who'd like to talk to them, and that could be pupils or staff.
And how and why did this come about?
Back in March, I think, the heads of the 4 schools covering Stanmore, that's Oliver's Battery, Stanmore School, St Peter's Primary School and King's, got together to see if they could come up with a number of proposals for improving the outcomes of the pupils at the schools. And we were invited to come along to see if we might have something to offer, and it turns out, I believe we do.
What sort of problems, what sort of issues do you think they might come up against or might have to deal with?
Well, we are in the position of being trusted, hopefully, as time goes by, adults who are not parents or carers and not teachers. And we therefore think that some of the pupils will feel more comfortable about opening up to us. Hopefully most of it will be fairly sort of low-level stuff, and there'll just be a chance to affirm the young people who we meet, to get to know them and be able to encourage them. Obviously, if there are more significant concerns, then there'll be a point of contact in each school who we can speak to and would do in a case like that.
So tell me a bit about the training that's gone into this as well, because you've been street pastors in Winchester for many years. How do you change then to becoming school pastors? What's the training that goes into that?
Yes, well, some of our new school pastors are existing street pastors, so they've been through one lot of training already. That's 2 out of the 5. The others are brand new to it, and they've been doing online training on many Saturdays since the end of September, beginning of October. The subjects they've covered have been roles and responsibilities, youth culture, mental health, safeguarding, and then we're going to look at prayer this final Saturday coming, and then they will be through their training and ready to go.
And how are they feeling about taking this on?
I think they're all really excited. One pair has paid their first visit. That was to Stanmore School this week, and they were taken around every classroom and introduced to every class. They met most of the teaching staff. So that's one, and then we've got the other 3 introductory sessions before Christmas, and then we start in uniform after Christmas in that first week of term in January.
And how will it actually work? How will people approach them, or will they be out in the playground? How will it work?
It'll be different for every school, and that'll be something that they work out between the school pastors and the school. Certainly in most cases I think it will be in the playground over the lunch break. Stanmore, I know they're going to arrive, I think, at 11:30 and stay till 1:30. So that'll cover staff lunch and pupils' lunch, so they'll get a chance to be available to anybody who wants to talk to them. And I think there may also be a room in some of the schools where the school pastors would be able to talk perhaps slightly more privately to a pupil who wanted to.
Is it just pupils, or can staff get help if they want it as well?
It's very much the whole school community, and the expectation is that they'll become more widely involved outside the school in the community as they're available. The pair who are going to cover King's School, they've already attended, I can't remember the name of it, but it was like a craft fair where the pupils who'd come up with stuff that they'd made and painted and created were able to display that, so they were able to be there as well. So they are already embedding themselves into the school communities.
And any plans to expand this to other schools?
At the moment, we've got only 5 volunteers, and we're covering 4 schools from the off. We're planning another recruiting move in the spring, and the next lot of training would cover June and July, with a planned deployment date of September. And we've already got inquiries from Westgate and Henry Beaufort School to have school pastors there from the autumn. So we'll be hoping and aiming for that.
And what difference do you hope it'll make?
That's a difficult question, because in many ways it's not something that you can audit, but we hope that it will help pupils to have a more positive outlook on life, that we will encourage them, and that we will be there as an additional presence alongside the teachers who are on duty during break time. So hopefully that it'll bring a sense of calm to the whole school community. And of course, we can't overlook the impact of prayer as well, because each pair will be supported by somebody who'll be praying for them from home. So that school will be being prayed for in a concentrated way, a focused way during that time.
And you can find out more about street and school pastors on the website streetpastors.org. Now the search is on for people or organisations who've made a difference in the Winchester district. Nominations for the Mayor of Winchester's Community Awards have opened. The annual event recognises those who've gone above and beyond to help others. The closing date is the 18th of February, with an awards ceremony on the 7th of March. More details on the City Council website.
Hi, I'm Paul Blitz, and let me start by wishing you all a very happy new year. Now, on to the important stuff. Let's start with a shout out to all the volunteers with the Friends of King Alfred buses. The team took a selection of vintage vehicles onto the streets of the city on New Year's Day, giving people free rides and the chance to experience bus travel of the past. The group recently lost one of its buses in a fire, but they put disappointment to one side to give people a really good day out. And a big congratulations to a number of local residents who were recognised in the King's New Year's Honours. Amongst them Helen Ledbetter for services to young carers, Professor Elizabeth Stewart from the University of Winchester, and Deborah Tan, who's Chief Executive of the Hampshire and Isle of Wight Wildlife Trust. And we've got some Christmas thank yous to give out. Firstly, to the firm I4 Projects, who donated 3 sacks of toys to the Northbrook Children's Ward. Staff said the gifts brought a little Christmas magic for those spending time in our hospital over the festive season. The Winchester Beacon has also given thanks to supporters who donated gifts and treats this Christmas. Staff say that experiencing homelessness can often bring feelings of loneliness and isolation, and the residents were reassured to know that the people were thinking of them. And a round of applause for the Gazelle Squadron display team who flew in Father Christmas by helicopter to visit Naomi House and Jack's place. It was much to the delight of the children, young people, their families and the brilliant people who care for them. They all gathered to welcome Santa as he landed in the gardens with a large sack of gifts. He then joined everyone for some homemade festive treats. And finally, well done to the organisers of the Winchester Park Run, who've broken a record for the number of runners. 513 people took part in the weekly Saturday run just before Christmas, and many also joined the special park run on Christmas Day. A massive thank you has been given to all the volunteers who helped marshal the event and encourage those taking on the challenge. More shout outs for you next week, but for now, it's back to Mary.
Winchester Radio.
And finally for today, people came flocking to the village of Easton earlier this week, armed with cameras and binoculars. Word had spread online about a rare sighting. Waxwings are winter visiting birds usually found in the north or east coast. Sightings are rare enough to cause much interest, and I met some of those who travelled in the hope of catching a glimpse of this bird, considered to be one of the most beautiful in the UK.
I just travelled up from Southampton. There's been reports of waxwings around for the past 2-3 days, and it's probably 10 years since I saw one, because they don't come down here very often. Been here today, it's getting rather cold. Haven't seen one yet.
And tell me a bit about waxwings. Why is it so special? Why are they so lovely to see?
Well, they're very beautiful birds. They've got this extraordinary crest comes up from the top of the head, and they've got bright yellow tips to their tail and waxy bobbles on their wings. Very striking, very beautiful, and very uncommon.
And lovely to see so many people have come down to see them as well, haven't they?
Yes, I think there'll be people down here all day in the hope of seeing them. Mind you, I haven't seen them yet, so...
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Where have you come from today?
We've just come up from Rownham's, about 20 minutes away, hoping to see them for the first time.
How important is it for you to see them? What would it mean to you?
Yeah, very, very special.
And how did you find out about them?
Online, waxwing sightings and Facebook, going birding, everyone's sort of reporting them. I thought, OK, we'll give it a go.
It's a year when waxwings have come into the country in some numbers, and as the winter wears on they tend to come further south, so they've been reported here in the last few days, I believe. So I just thought, well, let's try and see one on the last day of the year, see what happens.
And how special is it to have them down in Hampshire?
Further north in Scotland and the northeast of England you'll see more. It's uncommon down here.
And they're very special birds, aren't they? Very special to see.
They're lovely to look at. So they're an exotic looking bird. That's, so the photographers would be keen to see it, for one. And for people who like to see as many species as they can in a year, it's one to get on the year list.
My name's Glyn Williams and I live in the old post office in Easton.
And so have you seen these birds?
I think we saw them yesterday. We've got 2 robins in the front garden that I think feel a bit left out of all the attention that's been shown by the many people who have been here this morning.
And what was it like to see them? What are they like?
They are very nice looking birds. So I think we have seen them in previous years, and they've got a very nice crest, very colourful little bits of plumage on them. They do really catch the eye.
And what's it like to have all these people sort of turning up on your doorstep to see these wonderful creatures?
Well, it's a bit strange. We had a bit of a lie-in this morning, and there was a bit of a noise out here at 8 a.m. in the morning, and we had a look out through the window, and our bedroom window overlooks the tree where the birds have been feeding. And we thought, gosh, what's going on?
And people have come from a long distance, haven't they?
They have, broadly in the Hampshire area. This morning I was at my work desk, my telephone went, it was a friend who said, I've just been on Facebook and seen that your house is on Facebook in a picture. Can I come up? And Andy came up this morning.
And exciting that they're in your garden.
It is. We do feed the normal non-migratory birds, so it's lovely to have them here, and we do live in a very nice countryside area, and I think for us, all of us living here in Hampshire close to Winchester, we're very lucky.
Elaine.
You live here in Easton?
I live right there, yes, right opposite.
And
yes.
Tell me when you first saw these birds.
On Thursday afternoon, about 3 o'clock. I saw them perched on the TV aerial of the pub, and I thought that's a bit strange. They look like waxwings. I know there are waxwings around, but you don't very often see them. But there is an influx this year, so it was really good. They'll come back to the tree till it's stripped, and they keep coming back to the same tree, and then they perch on a TV aerial, which looks a bit incongruous, but that's what they've been doing for the last couple of days, yeah. Yeah.
And then you put something online to let people know, and
I did.
Everyone's come.
And then, yes, and people have been coming ever since. Yes.
And what's it like to have all these people coming to see them on your doorstep?
I think it's great. I love birds and I'm interested in them, and I think it's great that people are interested in them too.
And people have come a long way, haven't they? They're very special birds.
They have. I don't know how far people have come. I haven't spoken to any of the people really, but usually you have to travel a long way, so to have them just sitting on my roof is amazing.
Well, I didn't manage to see the birds while I was in Easton, but there are plenty of beautiful photos online from those who did. That's all for this week. Many thanks for listening, and Happy New Year to you all.
You've been listening to Winchester Now. We hope you've enjoyed this weekly programme from Winchester Radio. If you have a story to share with us, please let us know. You can drop us an email. We're news@winchester.radio. And you can follow us on social media platforms. Just search for Winchester Radio.
Winchester Radio.